Okay, holy smokes. All right, guys, so we're out here with Suzuki today during the International Bike Show, and I apologize, I haven't had any time to do any research here, but we're in the process of getting ready to get on this ride, and I'm riding a brand new Suzuki Hayabusa. Oh. Holy crap, this thing is ginormous. I can tell you that the ZX14, the position felt very different, and I can already tell you that I'm personally a lot more comfortable on this bike already. I remember the ZX14 had, the peg position was a little weird for me. It was strange at first here, but once I kind of got myself in the right riding position, everything seems to be okay. It's definitely nice and low to the ground compared to the R1. Delivery is very smooth. It doesn't feel scary. Transmission's very smooth as well. Like nice solid clicks on the transmission, but not doesn't require a lot of effort. Right off the bat, the bike feels great. The position is very sport bike-like, obviously. But it is big. It feels very stable. And that was one thing I did notice about the ZX14 as well, that it had a lot of stability, and that was very confidence inspiring. Brakes feel good. Everything about this bike does feel very smooth. It is kind of interesting that this bike does appear to be fairly unchanged from a lot of the other years, because as you can see, pretty much everything on this bike is all analog. It's got analog RPM, analog speed, analog fuel gauge, but that's still really nice to have a fuel gauge. Analog engine temperature. So the only thing you really have in the middle that's digital is your clock, your mileage, your gear indicator, and your mode. What a great bike. And my objection with the ZX14 was mostly how it fit me. The bike had plenty of power, made a good noise, but I definitely feel more comfortable on this bike. I'm a little hesitant to open it up with these people because we've already had some wide discrepancies in riding experience today. This is about to turn into a free-for-all, I think. So now that I've had a chance to kind of scoot back in the seat, I mean, there's definitely a lot of seat room, which is good. I mean, so essentially, if you're in the market for a bike like this, you're essentially looking for something that A has really good power, and B is comfortable but still has that sport bike feel to it. And I think that Suzuki hits that really well. Myself personally, I've never been really crazy about the Hayabusa styling, but that's one of those personal preference things. Otherwise, I'm very impressed. The bike is very smooth. It doesn't vibrate a lot. It could definitely use a louder exhaust. I have lots of room to move around. So if you got to get into that, when you're riding it like a sport bike and you're actually leaning off the bike, the seat has a nice slope to it. It's really smooth, but it has a nice slope to it, so falling off the seat to the side is really easy. But to give you an idea, like some of them, although I haven't ridden it, but like my generation R1 and the newer R1s, the seat is very square. And so you're either on the seat or off the seat. Like there's really no in between. But the seat on this bike is nice and well rounded, and so it makes the transitions from like a neutral position to like half a cheek off really, really easy. Whoa, there's like, that rear brake is pretty much non-existent. It's like a hydraulic clutch as well. I didn't notice that until just now. That's pretty nice. So the key to comfort, interestingly enough, is you got to get real forward on this bike. In terms of the flickability, I mean, it doesn't feel difficult to turn. It responds very nicely. The brakes feel good too. The brakes, I mean, with the exception of the rear brake. The rear brake is pretty much almost non-existent. Suspension is nice too. It really does soak up. It soaks up a good amount of bumps. Hopefully I'm in the right mode. I've never ridden a Suzuki with the modes, and I didn't have enough time to look up which specific mode is which, but I do believe that A mode is the top mode. This is one of those stretches where we can like open it up a little bit. Come on, kids, let's go! Yeah, I mean, I can dip off the side of the bike, still keeping my butt pretty firmly on the seat, but I can dip off the side of the bike and it's real easy. Suspension's real nice. I mean, it soaks up the bumps really well. It is a very comfortable bike. It's very stable. I don't have to give it, I mean, my arms are just dangling, so I'm gonna have to say that I definitely like this bike better than the Kawasaki.
Say what?
And that's not to say that the Kawasaki is a bad bike, just to say that it's personal preference.
Shoot this motherfucker!
Because I've already had a lot of people who have hit me up at my ZX14 review, and oh man, obviously you don't know anything of, you don't ride, the notion that I didn't recognize the ZX14 as being like the god of all motorcycles, and therefore that must have meant that I was a bad rider or a pansy rider or something, and they're not going to let us open these things up. I don't think the power of the bike is in dispute, is it? I mean, do you guys really need to see me like lay into it? Well, maybe you'd like to, but the suspension just soaks these bumps right up. I mean, just really, really makes it nice to roll over difficult pavement. I think I just got hit by a car. Clutch is nice and smooth too. I mean, and that's probably the best thing that I can describe a lot of the controls. Everything is smooth, it's stable, it's predictable. At no point did this bike scare me. I didn't lay into the power very much, but quite frankly, I don't really feel like there's, like I said, I don't think the power itself is in dispute. The rear brake is real soft, it's almost worthless. Transmission was nice and precise. What else can I say about this bike? I would like to see some more refinements. I'd like to see some more technology on the bike. That would be kind of nice. But truthfully, I mean, it may be one of those things where, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I really enjoyed riding this bike. I don't know if I'd own one, but I definitely think that if you're in the market for one of these two, I would pick this one over the ZX14. And that would be it. So thank you very much for riding with me today, guys, on the test ride of the brand new Suzuki Hayabusa. And we'll see you out there.